COVID-19 is spreading wide and fast. From Asia to Europe to America, confirmed cases are climbing on a daily basis. An increasing number of politicians, Hollywood celebrities, and professional athletes are testing positive for the virus. Viruses don't discriminate, but apparently people do.
Quand j'ai un marchand de légumes qui est chinois, je vais toujours acheter mes fruits et légumes chez lui, mais je ne vais pas acheter le reste. Ça me fait peur.
En fait, on a observé
We've seen the awakening of a latent racism, which we already knew was there, but which is now completely out in the open, with words and behaviour that are disrespectful, impolite, or even clearly racist.
In the face of an unknown virus, misinformation coupled with fear could incite xenophobia, but there have never been such shocking levels of blatant racism against Asians or Chinese. Are people just captivated by the fear, or has anti-China become the new politically correct? Let's turn the clock back to the last pandemic, the H1N1 influenza in 2009. As much as 24% of the global population contracted the disease that originated in the US, but did people call it the American virus and discriminate against Americans? Not really. But when an outbreak started in China,
the Wuhan coronavirus.
The Wuhan coronavirus.
The China coronavirus.
That's because viruses and diseases are always linked to uncivilized cultures in the Western discourse. If an American or European has it, that's a tragedy. If a Chinese has it, that's not wrong at all. They believe it is China's weird eating habits that started the outbreak, although the origin of the virus has not yet been figured out, and it is only a small minority of Chinese who eat wild animals.
This coronavirus originated in China, and I have not heard one word from the Chinese. A simple "I'm sorry."
So, when Jesse Waters asked for an apology from China, he sincerely believed that it was China being a troublemaker for America. Never mind that the origin of COVID-19 is still unclear, and that WHO officials have highly praised China's efforts that bought other countries time to prepare.
很多人呢就把达尔文的进化论应用到这个社会现象，应用到人种，应用到人种，所以他就说有一种认为白人进化论，刚好是工业革命，西方国家把其他国家给打败了，把这些结合起来嘛，他们就制造出了一个白人种族优越论这样一个理论。那么这个理论当然在近代，尤其是在二战以后，很多人都是批评这个理论，批评这个理论呢。实际上，在美国很长一段时间，因为美国自己本身也是一个多种族的一个国家，包括黑人啊，其他种族有。美国在二战到70、80年代，实际上，在讨论这个理论呢，就是政治上不正确。但是呢，这个东西他们在他们的脑袋里头，他的文化里面根深蒂固的一直有。所以呢，一旦发生今天这样的情况呢，这个东西自然的就跑出来了，很正常的。这很正常的，他们也从来没有清理过这种理论。
No, racism has never left, and this time around it has reared its ugly head even stronger as it was coupled with a political agenda to demonize China. A glimpse at the US media shows how prejudice and arrogance against China have become a given. If China locked down a city to prevent the spread of the virus, it was coming, quote, at a great cost to people's livelihoods and personal liberties, end quote. But if a European country, Italy, is doing the same, it was, quote, risking its economy in an effort to contain Europe's worst coronavirus outbreak, end quote. You simply cannot explain double standards in a better way. And to call China the, quote, real sick man of Asia and refuse to apologize? The Wall Street Journal cannot get away with freedom of speech. To any Chinese, this is a humiliating epithet that reminds them of a time in history when they were considered inferior to Western people.
王1999年发表的这样的一个文章，我想他是根深蒂固的这个种族优越的感觉出来了。他没想到西方以前也是历史上看，西方也是在西方国家产生的这个病毒啊，这个病菌也是无数的，是吧？因为这个病毒不分国籍、不分国界、不分护照的，吧？你任何国家、任何的政治制度都会产生这个病毒嘛。
But does it even matter? The refusal is a clear display of power. It means they don't have to engage with the Chinese to write on China. Their prejudice is all they have to know. But again, what more could you expect when some of the most powerful politicians in this country are also playing the victim card? As the COVID-19 spreads in America, President Donald Trump has tried to play down the situation.
It's a very contagious virus. It's incredible, but it's something that we have tremendous control of.
As I've said many times, and I'll repeat it, the worst is yet ahead for us.
But when the sober reality is too hard to ignore, it's the blaming China game again.
So the desire to blame people for epidemics is as old as history. And so whenever we have epidemics, and going back hundreds of years, you can find people pointing the finger at other people, blaming Jewish people in medieval Europe for plague, blaming Chinese people for bubonic plague in San Francisco. But right now, the epidemic is a global epidemic. It doesn't really matter where it started as part of our efforts to control it now. And all of these political questions, trying to blame different people, are really distracting us from the current challenge.
But why not blame China? After all, blaming others shields the U.S. from facing its own problems. Right now, the U.S. can't even distinguish between those who have died because of influenza and those that have contracted COVID-19.
So we could have people in the United States dying for what appears to be influenza when in fact it could be the coronavirus or COVID-19.
Some cases have been actually diagnosed that way in the United States today.
That's not even surprising, given how difficult it is for doctors to get testing kits.
I'm here to tell you right now, at one of the busiest hospitals in the country, I don't have it at my fingertips. I still have to call the Department of Health. I still have to make my case, plead to test people. This is not good.
Of course, any government needs time to respond to a new virus. Confusion at the beginning is understandable. But what's not excusable is how politicians have tried to deflect blame, stigmatize China, and create more hatred and fear when the entire world is facing the same enemy and cooperation is urgently needed.
The pandemic of influenza in 2009 originated in North America. We didn't call it the North American flu. So it's very important that we have the same approach when it comes to other viruses to avoid that. We ask for that to be the intent that everybody has. This is a time for solidarity. This is a time for facts. This is a time to move forward together, to fight this virus together.